Greetings to all. The Gospel reading appointed for this sixth Sunday after Pentecost comes from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, verses 1 through 9 and 16 through 23. The passage tells Jesus' parable of the sower, the farmer who goes out to sow some seed. And the farmer, contrary to most acceptable agricultural practices, simply scatters that seed indiscriminately, not paying a lick of attention to whether the soil is worthy of the seed or not. So, some seeds fall on the hard dirt path, and immediately the birds come and eat up every seed. Other seeds fall on rocky ground and spring up, but the young plants don't last long because there is no depth of soil. Still, other seeds fall among thorns, and the thorns grow up and choke the plants as they try to grow. But other seeds fall on good soil and grow up to produce such an overabundance of grain that a person can hardly imagine it. Jesus ends the telling of this parable by saying, "Let anyone with ears listen." Over the years, many different ears have listened, and many different ears have heard many different things, which is exactly what a parable is intended to do. Parables are intended to break open our hearts and minds just a bit, enough to let even a tiny bit of God's healing and grace in. It is from this kind of hearing that today's point to ponder arises. In a world in which seeds of hope need desperately to take root to heal the soul of our country, both the people and the land, reconnecting quite literally with the earth is a good way to begin. My guest today, jazz musician Kelle Jolly, has her own story to tell about healing a disconnection with the land. She speaks to the damage done to both people and land by the way that agriculture has historically been connected to slave culture.
Hello, I'm Kelly. I want to talk to you a little bit about why I garden. I have a garden at home, and I also work with community gardens here in my city. My parents didn't garden, so I didn't grow up gardening and farming with my parents, but we had houseplants. Both of my parents come from rural areas in South Carolina, and their parents did have a relationship with plants. My mom's mother had beautiful gardens. She had beautiful house plants. She had chickens and hogs and all those things in the country. My dad's father had a garden at home. I remember as a child walking through his garden, picking okra and green beans, and he also canned his vegetables. So my grandparents gardened. I didn't grow up in a household where we gardened. Even though we had houseplants, we didn't garden outside in the soil. So I didn't grow up with that habit, but it's something that I have developed now. I definitely grow vegetables, fruits, herbs, and flowers. When I think about agriculture and farming, one of the first images that comes to my mind is images of slavery in the United States. As a child, learning about how slavery shaped this country and how Africans were used to propel the gears of slavery, it makes you resent gardening, resent farming. It makes you resent farming and agriculture, and it feels like a place where people are trapped and working in servitude. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel comfortable. Slavery doesn't make you feel good. And so, as a child of American educational system, those images were perpetuated through my schooling, through my years of school, and so I can't put them out of my head. They're there, and I think that they cause you to have a distorted view of agriculture, a perverted relationship with the land. So I know a lot of people my age, older, they don't want anything to do with gardening and farming. if they were from the baby boomer generation, they probably ran away from farming and gardening, farming to the cities and to better jobs and out of the heat and away from all of the work that it takes to garden and farm. So I can understand that too. You want better wages, you want freedom, you want a better life. So I think that the desire to work in agriculture has skipped generations because of where we migrated for work and how lifestyles changed. But now we have the ability to garden for our own, for ourselves and for our own livelihood or for our own enjoyment. And I love that the trend has moved towards people having home gardens and for young people to farm and garden, because gardens grow hope, and we need to correct that relationship. That's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm correcting the relationship that my DNA has with the land, and I think it's important to help heal from the damage and perversion that slavery caused for us in our relationship with the land. So I started gardening with easy things like begonias and marigolds, and I just graduated into having bigger and bigger gardens as I had more success with growing things. I didn't do it growing up a lot. I wasn't shown that a lot on a daily basis, but I am now. Gardens grow hope, and I feel like I'm helping my DNA heal by gardening and connecting with the land. My name's Kelly. Gardens grow hope.